Well, good morning, good morning, good morning, and to everyone, I say a great good morning. Today we have in our studio our guest, none other than Joanne. You see, the funny thing about it is, I'm practicing this all morning. I'm practicing because I know her as something else. I'm gonna tell you why I know her as another name. In everyday life, Joanne is known by her first name, Debbie. That's the name I know her as. But today we refer to her as Joanne for a specific reason. Born in London, Ontario, Canada, aunt to Marcus and Troy, when she was not planning her next travel adventure, you will find this first time author of the book Easy to Love practicing her new loves, photography, voiceovers, and the Latin dance bachata. Am I right?
Bachata. Yes,
Bachata.
yes, you are correct.
Okay, so here is another, none other than the author of the book Easy to Love. And Faty and I were talking about when someone says to you, "You're so easy to love," what in the world are they saying? So, Faty, I'm going to turn this over to you.
Yes, because I am easy to love. So, Joanne, welcome, welcome, welcome. We're happy to glad to have you here with us this morning. Listen,
Thank you. My pleasure.
tell
It's exciting. You guys make me feel so special already. My goodness.
absolutely, absolutely. So tell us, what motivated you to write this book? Were you always had a desire to write, um, or did the 2020 lockdown push you forward into what your desire always was?
That's a really good question. And that's bang. You hit the nail on the head there, Faye. Because it was never my intention to write. I have to say that. I never had the inclination to write. But during that time, when I was sat down, when God sat us all down and said, "Okay, can I do something with you
Mm-hmm.
now? Will you let me work?"
Right, right.
He gave me this purpose to do, and that this is the outcome.
Nice, nice. I know. What are you gonna say, Claremont? You have the Claremont's about to say something. Look, go ahead.
No, okay, so you never had a thought about a book before.
I never had a thought about a book before. No, we
And
would joke. I will say that with my girlfriends, we would joke. Anytime we had an interesting situation happen to us, we'd say, "Oh, that's one for the book."
Ah,
But
yeah.
you
the
know, with
book was just
I,
it was a joke. It was
right,
more
right,
so we
right.
would all sit together in our old age and go over all of these stories, but no, never had the inclination to write.
interesting, we were speaking about words this morning, and
Mm,
words have life. So you were talking about a book.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're talking about Chadwick this morning, how we talk about when they're asking him about a sequel, 2019, he says, "I'm dead." And then as he says, "No, I am
Oh,
dead." And by 2020,
yeah.
August, he was
Mm,
gone, right? So you were talking about a
wow,
book.
mm-hmm.
So you
wow.
got to be careful what we say. You talk about a book. So
Right,
do we see,
right.
do we hear movies now?
Well, it's funny that you say that because at the end of the book, I actually in the pages at the end for fun,
Hmm.
I said, you know what? In case this book is ever made into a movie or a
Yes,
Netflix
you did.
series,
Yes,
here's
you
the
did.
soundtrack that I would like to use.
Yes, you
So you know what?
did.
Yes, I did call that page. I said, speaking it into existence.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So you never
Mm-hmm.
know. You never know. You may
Mm-hmm.
be interviewing me on the
Intro-
red carpet one day.
hey, you
Hey,
never know.
hey,
Anything is impossible.
I,
Everything is
but
possible, right?
for now, let's
That's
throw out our
right.
own red carpet since we all most of us are practically rain red. So let's throw out our own red carpet. When I read the book, and I read it two ways. I read it in the upturning pages, and I also read it
Mm,
by
okay.
audibly. There you go. Um, and some things keep playing over in my mind over and over as I'm listening to the book. Now, is this your autobiography, or is this a story?
Fiction.
Is this fictional? Is this practically what is happening?
That made you wonder, right? Could this
Yeah.
be real?
Yes. Yeah. We just had that conversation about. I'm like, is this real or is this a autobiography that she just slipped in on us?
Yeah, you know what? These are real life experiences. The only thing that is not real are the names of the gentlemen. And
Well,
I use that term
Ah,
loosely. The names of the gentlemen have been changed, but the names of my girlfriends are real. All of the experiences are real. Yeah.
wow. interesting that you said you mentioned the gentleman's because I read the book and I read it a couple of times. The relationships,
Mm,
the choices in the relationships, the outcomes. Would
hmm.
you, for the want of a better expression, would you have the blame or the fault or the outcomes of those based on the man's uh responsibilities and behaviors, or would you lay that on the woman looking for love, or is it a combination?
What a great question, Faye. You should do this for a living.
Practically, she is.
I pretty much do that sometimes.
That's a great, great question, Faye. If you had asked me that question before I wrote the book, I would
Mm-hmm.
have said, these men, and we would have gone on and on for hours about these men.
Mhm.
Mm,
Mhm.
But going through this experience and renewing my mind, I see that I have responsibility in that.
mm,
Mm.
These men knocked at my door, but it was me who opened the door,
Opened. Mm.
right? There's a word that I use now all the time, weekly, that I never used before when I was, dating these or choosing these type of gentlemen to come into my life. And that word is discernment,
Mm.
right? Discernment is my favorite word now. It is a strong word.
Mhm.
Uh,
Mhm.
it's defined in the dictionary as the ability to judge well. And in the Bible, in Proverbs 17, it says, a discerning person keeps wisdom in view.
Mm.
Well, I wasn't doing that. I wasn't doing that during that time. I would leave my wisdom, my discernment up on the top shelf in my cupboard before I left my house.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I heard a statement made not too long ago, and I thought of it. I'm thinking, this is true. Women have a tendency of being in love with love and being in love with the whole ambience of I'm in love and I'm in love, I'm in love. And the man is thinking, I'm not so sure yet. I know there's a couple of things that I see that I want, but I'm not so sure. But when he do say I love, it's a commitment. While
Mm,
the woman is still sitting in I'm in love with love and have not even uh, reached the threshold of saying this is the person I'm going to be staying with for the rest of my life. I'm probably going to have children. I'm probably going to, well, if you pass the children's age, I'm probably going to be spending the rest of my days. Do I want to be sitting every single day watching that face or
mm,
being around that individual? And I thought to myself, this is true because a man would see a woman and probably flirt with her and that kind of stuff, and then probably, especially if he's not a Christian, he see the goodies and he says, I think I want to put my hand in the cookie jar and get a few of the cookies. And then
mm-hmm,
she's like thinking, oh my God, I'm in love. He's in love with me and blah, blah, blah. And you go off from that
mm.
angle while he's just seeing one thing. Um, do you believe that's what actually goes on or no?
Well, I think I do. I think I do to a point. I mean, the title of the book is Easy to Love. And that came from a conversation that I had with one of these gentlemen where he said to me, you are easy
Mhm.
to love. And
Mhm.
I took that in that mindset at that time. I just heard the word love. He loves me. But what he was saying is that I'm easy to love, not that he loved me,
Mhm.
not that he has chosen to love me, but just that I'm easy to love. And I'm easy to love because I treated him well. But that doesn't mean that he loves me back.
Right.
It was a statement.
Mm-hmm.
You are
Mhm.
easy to
Mhm.
love, right? Because of the things you do, because of the way you treat me, the way you make me feel. But nowhere in that sentence did he say, I
Uh,
find you easy to love because I love you. He never said
mm.
that. But what did I hear in that moment? All I
The
heard was
word
the word
love.
love, and I was off. I was auditioning. I was I was going to get this
You were
part.
off and running, girl.
I'm telling you. I'm telling you. I
Off
had
and
future
running.
planned. Yeah, because I heard the word love. I didn't
Word
feel
love.
the word love from him. I didn't feel love from him. He definitely didn't display love to me, but he said the word love out of his mouth, and I heard what I wanted to hear.
Mm.
After
Yeah.
writing this book and penning all these interesting scenarios that happened to you, um,
Mhm.
how did you feel when you said, "I'm done. I'm gonna put this out there"?
Yeah, it's so interesting because I had never written a book before. At first, I didn't know when I was done. I remember I had
Mm.
maybe uh, 5 lessons done, and I sent it to a friend, and I said, Here you go. Here you go, my friend Tracy." I said, "Here you go." I sent it to another friend, Vicky. "Here you go. I'm done. Read it." And then Trace said, this is good. This is really good. And she simply just said, "Are you done? Are you sure you're done?" And just by hearing that question
Mhm.
and letting that sink in, I went right back to my computer and kept going. And I came up with another 5 lessons.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
So
The
when I
trigger.
was done, though, Claremont, to answer your question, absolutely. When I hit that last sentence, I knew that was it. And I was so glad that, God led me to share, because sometimes we keep things to ourselves and we don't even tell
Right.
our closest friends that we're doing this. But, God encouraged me to share it with the right people that gave me the encouragement to say,
Mhm.
okay, take another look at it. But when I really hit that, last sentence, I said, this is
This
it.
is it.
I'm in reading the book, as I said, I recognize that you kind of bare your soul out there a little bit, and some people are like, "Boy, she's so stupid for
Girl.
doing something like that." Look, why would you want to let
No.
anybody
No,
know
my word
what
my
you?
word was my word was not stupid. I read it the first time, and this
Thank
is
you,
my
Faye.
face. I'm not lying. I'm like, whoa, she brave.
Because people say, "Why would you
I'm
want to
like,
put your
whoa,
business
she
out there?" Because
brave.
people
Cause
don't look at you. But when in
you could
reading it,
tell.
yeah, in reading
You
it, you
could
kind
tell.
of get
Listen.
this sense that hold on a minute here. This is an everyday life to almost everybody, both male and female.
And
Right.
female.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely, male
Right.
and
Right.
female.
The thing about
And it's
males, though, they wouldn't talk. You would never get, "No, I'm a man. No, she can't do me that. That never happened to me." Yo, bro, I did that a long time ago. We don't talk.
Mhm.
But women, I
right.
find it was easy for you to express, and you talk to your girlfriends. We would never tell our male friends that the woman just shut me down. What happened?
Hmm.
I just lost interest. Wasn't interested
Yeah,
anymore. We brush it off and we're gone. In the meantime, she closed the door, break down the whole system, build a new system up, and you can't even find where that spot was. Right? So,
exactly.
but we play it
Exactly.
off.
Yeah.
So to
Right.
me, my thing was, how did you do that? And then go back and say, "I don't mind putting this out there for you guys to read and say, okay,
To read.
yeah."
Claremont, that is how you know that this was a purpose given to me by God. Because if it was just up to my own
Mhm. Mhm.
will, I
Mhm.
probably wouldn't have done that. Right.
Right.
And it doesn't serve anybody if I am going to give you half truths, if I'm going to give you half of the story. I am doing this so that you see the raw details, and then you look in your own life and you say,
Mhm.
wow, what has happened to me? Something similar did happen to me. And how did I find myself in that position? And listen, my stories, I'm here to stand and talk to you about them. So my stories aren't the worst. There are way worse stories out there,
Yeah.
and you yourselves might have stories that I would sit here and say, whoa, 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 that is amazing. That is really a lot more that I went
Mhm.
through,
Hmm.
right? So we
Mhm.
all have a story. But I felt that if I was going to be true to this, and if my intention is to truly help people, you know, truly help people to read this, to look at their own lives, to make better decisions going forward, to build those kingdom families, right? Let's go make the decisions for a partner that's going to help us build a kingdom family and, give glory to God in the way that we live our lives together. If I'm truly going to do that, then I've got to shock you a little bit. I've got to
Hmm.
make you read that sentence again. Wait a second. Did she just say, yes, I did? That's what happened,
Hmm.
Mm.
and talk to your friends, talk to your close friends, and just ask them to share the most uh, interesting dating experience or even life lesson that they've learned. And you'll sit there and you'll be very enthralled and you'll say, wow, you should write about that. We all have a story. We all have a story. But I really felt that if I'm going to live in intention, and the intention of this book was to help people, then I can't give you half the story.
I
Who
was
said
I
that?
know, believe me, some of my family members, and one of my family members, I won't name her because she'll get all embarrassed here this
Wake
morning, but I
them.
know she's watching. And
I
she
know. I'm
was,
sure
she was
she
like,
is too.
what? What are you doing? Are you sure you want to, Debbie? What? Or Joanne? What? And I said, yeah. And I said to myself, I knew that that was going to happen. So I was prepared for that
Ready. Mm-hmm.
because not everybody's going to do that. Not everybody is going
Right.
to share that explicitly, but
Mm.
not everybody has that purpose,
Like
right?
I
Indeed.
said,
I'm
I
glad
read
you
it and
did.
went brave. Brave. I said brave because
Thank you.
I'm glad that
I
you
don't
did
know.
because someone said to me just yesterday, I was reiterating a situation and they said, you should write a book. I'm like, nah, I'm not going to do what
Mm.
Joanne did. Not yet. I'm not ready for it yet. Listen, Faye and I we were teeter-tottering with this question to ask you. We know what it is. We've heard it said many times. We've heard it even quoted several times from Proverbs 31:10. In
Mm-hmm.
your own words, how would you explain or how would you personally describe the Proverbs 31 woman?
I think that verse 25 actually describes it perfectly. Like you can go verse by verse, but I find that Proverbs 31:25 really encapsulates the whole chapter really well.
Mm,
And it says there that she is clothed in strength and dignity, and she laughs without fear of the future. So if you as a woman walk into this world with strength and dignity as your clothes, like you put on, just like I put on this jacket this morning. If I get up in the morning and I walk out into the world and I'm putting on this strength and dignity, and I don't have a fear of the future because I know God's got my back. I think that that is the best way that's a good start, but the
mm,
whole chapter, Claremont, when you look at this chapter of Proverbs 31, I use this now as my template. And anytime I feel like I'm veering off track, I come back and I read this. I
mm,
read this because this woman, she has got it together. I tell you, she's good in real estate. When she puts herself together, she looks fine walking out there on the street. She surrounds herself with good people. The man that she chose is a powerful man. The man that she chose is well respected in the town, right? And when he leaves and goes about the business of taking care of his family, he is confident in what she's doing back at home.
mm.
She has a relationship with her
Mm.
family. She has a relationship with, her husband. She has a relationship. She makes sure that other people eat. She's outside of herself as well. She's very charitable. When she opens her mouth, wisdom comes out. you know Professionalism comes out. She carries herself. Dignity pours out of her. you know and then she surrounds herself with good people, but even in her posse of friends, she's at the top.
Mm.
Mm.
And she encourages her friends to come to rise with her as well. And she has an active relationship with God, and she knows where her blessings flow from. So I'm
I'm
telling
going.
you, this
So,
is the template. This
I
is the template.
I am going to I am going to how should I say let our listeners know, just in case you're listening via radio, you can also lock into Streaming Praise Radio YouTube channel, as well
YouTube.
as on our app or on Streaming Praise Facebook, and you'll get to see the video all over again. Just in case you missed it, you can always go back and take a look at the video as we speak to Joanne this morning. I'm gonna throw this question. This question wasn't discussed between Faith and myself, so
Uh
so I'm gonna bring this out. No, say you're safe. You're safe. You're safe. You've just
oh.
described a very eloquent, lovable, and I could go on describing a woman that. Would you say in your circles or even your extended circles and the extended circles that most women are like that, or very few women are aspiring to be that kind of individual, or they're self-centered in the sense it's all about me, me, as opposed to saying
Mm,
there's a bigger picture here than just you?
mhm. think until we, as women, mature, or until we have an experience like I had, during quarantine, until we renew our mind, we may be a little selfish. I think human beings, not just women, we may be very selfish, and we may always be looking externally for somebody to please us and to make us happy. And if there's ever a disagreement or anything within a friendship or a relationship, we always look externally. And I think that once we mature, or once we have a life-changing experience where our mindset is shifted, and then we realize that we shouldn't be that way, men and women, men and women.
So
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad you said men and women because I three things I would like you to share. Both men and women. What would you like at the end of reading that book? What would you like? Give me three things that you'd like them to walk away with, both men and women. Because
But
as you said just now, it's not just only the woman, the men also. So let's go
exactly.
with something general, three things generally for both men and women in your estimation that you would like them to walk away from that book with.
Okay, I would like to say the word activate, and from that I'll get three things. So I want everybody, when they read this book, to activate, right? To activate that discernment that we were talking about, that voice inside that tells you,
Mm-hmm.
something isn't right here. So I want them to activate that. I want them to activate the relationship that they have with God. That truly is my number one. If it's not activated, activate it. If it's activated, keep it going, right? And then I want you to look at the relationship that you have with yourself. If I
Mm.
had a healthy relationship with myself, I wouldn't have put myself in those situations. So what does that mean? That means I'm going to have to get counseling. That means I'm going to have to look to somebody that's bigger than me. And in my case, I'm a Christian, so I'm going to look to God. I looked to God to help me through this,
Mm.
right? And then I'm going to focus on, as part of that relationship with myself, I'm going to focus on other things outside of a relationship. I'm going to look at that Proverbs 31 and I'm going to read it, and that's going to be my template. I'm going to work on myself. But I'm also, in the meantime, I really want people to hear this. In the meantime, in between time, let's get out there and live. Let's go on a solo trip, right? And
I
let's make
saw
sure that
that.
we're right. Let's make sure that we're healthy.
Mhm.
We all have those pounds we wanted to lose. We want to lose. Let's get out, put the running shoes on, go for a walk, right? And that project that you put on the shelf for years, get it out, dust it off, and do it. Whether it is a book, whether it is a business, whether it's a YouTube channel, whatever it is, do it. So in the meantime, let's busy ourselves with life, and working on the internal stuff, so that
Mhm.
when this opportunity for a relationship comes, our discernment is ready, our character is strong, and we're ready to make an honest go of it. So that's what I would say.
Awesome.
Well,
Those are
we're
three
just about
very
ready to
good
close, but
things.
before we close, how can people get your book? Where can we find your book?
My book is available on Amazon. And remember, those of you who know me as Debbie Patterson, my author name is Joanne Patterson. Joanne is my middle name, actually. A little
Okay.
bit of trivia.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah. So we'll look for joining Amazon, and you can buy it from there, or like myself, I have the download, so I downloaded it into my system, and I could read it to myself whenever. Listen, I want to say this last thing to you before we actually switch over to our radio channel. Someone said, not my word, someone said, if a woman is wrapped up in God, the
Mm.
man will have to go through God to find her, which will force him to become a better person in order to get
Absolutely.
her.
Yes. Yes.
It's kind of reminded me of the bridegroom coming for the bride. If the bride is not ready,
Mm.
the groom comes and he's gone. So this means the woman put herself in, all wrapped up in God. So when the man comes, he has no choice but to go through God together. Joanne, we want to thank you so
Mhm.
much for being with us this morning. Thank you for
Indeed, we
sharing
do.
your book. Thank you for sharing you with us. I had a
Right?
great time. I had a great time. I
That's
read the book 10 times, I must tell you. I 10 times first by reading and the rest by listening, because whenever I'm driving around for work, my other job, I listen to it constantly. I probably listen, yeah, about 10 times. Yesterday was my last day listening to it, so that would make it 10. So 10 times I listened to it. I'm
Yeah.
like, I can't believe this. You really put it out there?
Right. Yes. That was my reaction the first time I read it. I was
Yeah.
like, "Whoa, this chick is brave."
Very brave.
Because you could tell it this was just something that got thrown out there that
Hmm.
it came from in here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we
That's
thank you.
awesome.
Absolutely.
We thank
Thank
you
you.
once again, and God bless you as you prepare for another book and the movie.
Thank you. Thank you. God bless you both.
Okay.
Thank you for having
Nice
me.
Not a
meeting you. You're
problem.
welcome. Great having you here.
For the
Take
best
care.
listening experience, please download our sprlivefm.com app from either the Google Play Store or Apple App Store. You will not only experience our radio, but SPR, TV, and live chat.